I just wanted to have a general conversation with you,
Sure.
if I may. Um, are you interested in this kind of thing, in the history of Formula One racing?
Yes and no. Because I have interest in anything that means some involvement with motor racing, especially Formula One, Grand Prix racing. But at the same time, I find that my general work, just a day after day basis, working at the present, it absorbs so much of my time and so much of my thinking
Yes.
that when I have a free time, I just don't want to know anything about racing. I
Yes.
want to completely cut my contact
Yes.
with my profession,
Yes.
and when I come back in touch with my profession, I am totally absorbed. So I just lack the time, in a way,
Yes.
to get to know more things and to read things, because when I have the free time, I don't want to read anything
Yeah.
about racing. So
I understand.
so that's why yes and no. I
Yes.
am interested, but at the same time, I don't have the ability at the moment
Yes.
to look into it, in a way.
When you were a little boy in Brazil, were you interested then did you have heroes,
Yes,
drivers?
yes, he was one of my heroes.
Yes.
So Fittipaldi, Lauda, Stewart,
Yes.
Reutemann.
Do you remember what it was about the sport that captured your imagination?
Well, there was for me, already when I was 13, 14, there was a major identification with racing generally,
Yes.
more with Grand Prix, because we had live on TV every Sunday morning in Brazil because of the time difference, and I
Yes.
was waking up early to watch the races, watch the starts and the race progress with such enthusiasm that I had the same feeling as I was already a go-kart driver.
Yes.
It was bringing to me the same feeling as I was driving my go-karts, in terms of every time when I get near to the racing circuit to drive my go-karts, like Interlagos, I already had my hands getting a little bit wet. And I was only 13 years old, I remember.
Yes.
And just the feeling of I was getting near to the circuit. I couldn't even see, but I knew I was getting near. I was getting, those feelings. So I was heavily involved mentally
Yes.
already when I was 13 years old.
Are you able to have that same anticipation now? Now you're 30 years old and you've had so much experience. Is it still exciting for you?
In a different way, of course. Now I have still a lot of expectation, tension, that I want to go into it and do it.
Yes.
When I'm waiting for the time
Yeah.
to do it. And
do your hands still perspire a little bit?
Maybe 50% of what it was.
Yes. Are you able to describe the pleasures of driving? I've got some things that you said that the intense feeling that you get from the pleasure is a little bit like being with a woman.
Yes.
You once said that.
Yes, yes.
Could you speak about that?
Yes, I think there are different ways of putting to express the feelings of driving.
Yes.
I believe when you're driving, in a competition, not only when you're driving testing is different, but in a weekend when you are competing against the watch, against other competitors,
Yes.
The feeling of expectation of getting it done and doing the best and being the best gives me a kind of power that some moments when I am actually driving just detach me completely from anything else.
Yes.
And as I'm doing it, corner after corner, for instance, in the qualifying session, lap after lap, and I can give you a true example, experience, just experience I can relate to Monte Carlo. This is Monte
Yes.
Carlo, 88 in qualifying session, the last day of qualifying session, Saturday afternoon. I was already on pole, and I was going faster and faster. We had race tires, so we were going many laps, not only one lap, one lap after the other, quicker and quicker and quicker. I was one stage just on pole, and then I was by half a second, and then 1 second, and I was going, and I was going, and I was going, and I was going, and suddenly I was about 2 seconds faster than anyone else, including my teammate with the same car. And I suddenly realized that I was no longer driving it conscious. I was kind of driving it by instinct only.
Yes.
And I was in a different dimension for me,
Yes.
where I was like in a tunnel. Not only the tunnel that we
Yes.
have there, the circuit for me was a tunnel, which I was just going. I had nothing other than going a bit more and more and more and more, and I was sure over the limit, but still able to go even more.
Yes.
And suddenly something just kicked me, and I kind of woke up, and I realized that I was in a very different atmosphere
Yes.
than you normally are, and I just immediately, my reaction was to back off, slow down, and drove back slowly to the pits, and I didn't want to go out anymore that day.
It frightened you a little bit?
Yes.
That experience?
Yes, because I realized I was well beyond
Yeah.
my conscious understanding.
Yes.
So
It's fascinating, but that happens rarely. Not
rarely, but that is one occasion that it
Yes.
happened, and I kept this experience very much alive for me because it's something that is like a self-preservation in a
Yes.
way, and these are kind of things that I don't get in any other activity in life, you know.
Yes.
And when you mention about the woman comparison, it's I think when you love somebody, a woman, where you get when you feel human, at the same time you feel stronger, at the same time you feel a better man,
Yes.
at the same time you feel more macho, and at the same moment you feel in peace because it fulfills the empty space that you have,
Yes.
that we all have in us, that only a woman can fulfill. In a way, in a racing car, I get lots of those things
Yes.
through my driving,
Yes.
and that you only get in a racing car or in a woman.
Yes.
Nobody else, nothing else.
Is there room now for both in your life? At one time there wasn't.
Yes, I think sure, time is the best. It's the best thing we have in life, because time shows us as we progress
Yes.
different perspectives of life.
Yes.
And if few years ago I had no time for anybody or anything else other than racing, today I not only have the time, but I need the time for my family, for my friends, and particularly for my girlfriend.
Yes.
And it's something that I fight for, and I organize my life in a way in order that I can get the balance today between
Yes.
the private life, the personal life, with the professional life, because only today, having the equilibrium between both sides
Yes.
of myself, I can perform to my best.
Yes.
A few years ago, I had not much need on the private life.
Yes.
I was able to do a lot of my professional life because I needed so much.
Yeah.
And as the time went by, I still need a lot my profession, but no longer I can live with my profession the way I used to,
Yes.
without having the ability of going away completely from it.
Yes.
And doing other things and giving myself the ability of experimenting all the other good things that we have in life.
Yes. Good.
And at the same moment, even when I am doing my job, the need for somebody to be on my side is great, is big, and is something that already bothers me.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Have you tried to analyze in your mind why you are better than 99% of the other drivers in Formula One? Do you ever think of it that way? Is it that you try harder, or there's more than that I know of?
If that is really true,
Yes.
and if that is true, the reasons for it,
Yes.
and so on.
You
And- and-
don't have to say it. I will say it for you if it
In-
makes you uncomfortable.
Yes, yes, and but of course, if I have to talk about it, it's because in a way, I agree with you, or I think similar to you, which is uncomfortable.
Yes, I
for me.
understand.
Not because I'm talking publicly.
Mm.
It's just with me is
Yes.
uncomfortable
Yes.
feeling. It's in a way pleasant, of course, but it's uncomfortable
Yes.
feeling. But just trying to be open and natural to the subject.
Yes.
Sometimes I think I know some of the reasons why I do the things I do, the way I do, and what I get through it, where I get. And sometimes I think I don't know why.
Yes.
I know I get there, but I don't really know why.
Yes.
So it's a mixture of feelings. Some occasions I think I have a good understanding and a good feeling why certain things are the way they are.
Yes.
But there are some moments that the only answer I get is a natural instinct
Yeah.
that is in me.
Yes.
Whether I have born with it or whether this feeling has grown up on me more than other people, I don't know, but it's like it's inside.
Yes.
And it takes over with a greater amount of space and intensity
Yes.
and deepness over many other things that are part of us in some moments.
Yes. It seems to me that you think more about your racing than most drivers. Do you feel that?
I try to.
Yes.
That I can say. I try to put in like in black and white why many things are the way they are, and yeah, I suppose I try, like I said, I try hard to understand everything and anything that
Yes.
happens around me, not only in the car, but your behavior as a professional in the
Yeah.
circuit, outside, in the garage, and so on.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of energy
Yes.
a lot of energy from you, and often at the end of every day I feel very tired because I just give everything I have. It drains me completely.
Yes. What do you think of this kind of thing? The superstardom and the fans always after you.
Well, I think
Does it make you embarrassed? Or?
it does, because it shows how much you can touch people without knowing, without ever talking to them,
Yes.
just by your behavior publicly.
Yeah.
What they see on TV, what they see you talking personally in some interviews, what they read about you, and it shows how much you can touch people.
Yeah.
And as much you can try to give those people something, it's nothing compared to what they live in their own mind, in their dreams for you.
Yes.
And it's something really special. Something really special.
Yes. Can I ask you something about your religion? Are you a Roman Catholic?
I am religious. I believe in God through Jesus. Are you religious?
Yes. I was brought up religious,
Yes.
Protestant in Canada,
Yeah.
but I have drifted away
Yes.
as an adult. But you have gone the other way, haven't you? You've become closer.
Yes. I was brought up probably similar to you, and maybe I was getting away from it, but suddenly turned the other way.
Is that very long ago?
2 years ago, just under 2 years ago.
In racing? Because of racing, you think?
Yes. In a way, things that have happened in racing in my career have contributed a lot to my change of direction. And
Not just one moment, but
it
many
was
things.
a build-up of things that
Yes.
got to a peak, and then I had
Crisis?
yeah, and I came down and I realized that lots of things, and
Not just at Monaco.
no, Monaco was the peak.
Yes.
Monaco was the peak, but many things have contributed to Monte Carlo, and it's something in a way difficult to talk.
I understand.
It's very touching, and it's for me. It's like this: to talk for somebody to listen about this matter is something. For you to listen about this matter is something. Just by hearing things is something. For you to experience yourself the faith and the belief is something else.
Yes.
Completely different.
Perhaps too personal to really describe.
I think as much as I would like to describe, I wouldn't be able to describe exactly what it is and how it works,
Yes.
because I found very few people that were able to describe for me in words what this is all about.
Yes.
And those people are much more advanced, much more experienced and involved with God than I am.
Yes.
I am so much new to it,
Yes.
so much at the beginning that I just don't have the ability of giving it the way I know I have to give
Yes.
to other people. I know what it is because I have experienced it, and I know what it's like. But I know by myself before I have experienced. Just by listening isn't enough. You know, only few people are really able to pass on
Yes.
the message, and I feel that I am unfortunately so far only one of those people who have experience, but still cannot really pass the message on.
Yes, I understand.
But it is again something unique in life, and it is something that can can hold can hold you, can support you
Yes.
when you are most vulnerable and you are really just about going down.
Yes.
You know, it's something from that direction.
So you are a better person, a stronger person now, and maybe a better driver because of this, do you think?
I am a better man,
Better man.
a better human being
Yes.
now than I was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And if I am a better man, I am better in everything I am, everything I do.
Yes. Good. Can I ask you your opinion about the people in Formula One racing? Are they, generally speaking, are they special people? Or just average people in a special situation, perhaps?
I think Formula One is very superficial, generally speaking. Of course, in any activity, in any part of the world, you find also special people. And there are some special people in Formula One. Few. But
Very
there are.
few?
Very few.
Yes.
But there are. But generally speaking, Formula One is very superficial. Formula One is today very strong business, a way of promoting names and marks and people, and my relationship with the atmosphere
Yes.
as much as I try to find those special people hard and to get into those people, I find very difficult
Yes.
because consistently I find problems and troubles that I go through and which tend to drive me away from it.
Yes. From personalities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Can-
So it's a very difficult environment
Yeah.
to be with and to be part of it.
Yes.
It's almost impossible.
I understand. Is it possible that this sport attracts a lot of people who aren't very nice, do you think?
Who are not very nice.
Not very nice.
No,
So competitive maybe that they...
I think the competition naturally
Yeah.
already makes life difficult to anybody,
Yeah.
not only drivers but team managers, press people,
Yeah.
sponsors, anybody that is in here somehow is competing. And the nature of this competition, the ego is always in test. When you have your ego being tested all the time, it tends to bring out lots of problems in terms of relationship amongst people.
Yeah.
And as directly linked with the ego,
Yeah.
the material benefits from the ego fight and the results of those fights
Yes.
is directly related.
Yeah.
Then you naturally find
Difficulties.
difficulties.
Yes.
Difficulties.
Can I ask you what you think of the Formula One press in general? Are they doing a good job?
Well, first of all, I think very rare you are able to dialogue
Yeah.
with the people in a positive way, in a natural, in a truthful and constructive way.
Is that
Simply
because of
because all those interests and those conflict interests
Yeah.
are hitting each other
Yeah.
all the time, and to pass on and to be able to discuss and talk about those subjects, general subjects, openly, without having a feeling or thinking that is gonna something bad is gonna come out of it instead of something good,
Yeah.
already cuts you. Okay,
Yes.
so it is difficult,
Yes.
very difficult to find someone in the environment with who you can have a constructive conversation,
Yes.
and that is frustrating in a way because for me particularly I have always a desire, it's in my nature again, my education, my nature. I have always a desire to share with people like that
Yes.
some of the special feelings I have
Yes.
and I get also from doing what I'm doing and from who I am, because that's the only thing I can give to those people, nothing else.
Yes.
Okay, that has some value, at least for me. And I find frustrating not to be able to share those things with with the public in general,
Yeah.
with the tifosi, you
Yes.
know, with the fans, simply because the system is difficult and many times when you try you get hit,
Yeah.
and the interpretation is not the one that it should be, and it ends up being a damaging thing instead of a nice thing.
By the journalist, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. I know that you're very concerned with your principles, your background, your education.
Yeah.
Do you think there are many people who share those, who have that common denominator in, say, in the press? Is that one of the gulfs, perhaps, the differences?
I think I am in a very fortunate position, in a way. I believe, first of all, I had the opportunity to be in a healthy family, healthy environment, you know,
Yeah.
very positive, right from being a baby. So I had a good education, I had love at home, which is important when a kid is growing, I think, for his later development. I had a good school, the opportunity to be in a good school. I grown up doing all kinds of activities, sports and intellectual things.
Yes.
So I had what I consider a perfect environment to grow up,
Yes.
where you create your basis. When then you get 30 years old, 40 or 50, you know. And on top of that, on the material side, I also had a good situation right from the beginning. I had everything I wanted, realistic talking.
Yeah.
Anything realistic I could have. My father is a self-made man who was always able to give me and my sister and my brother things we wanted. And I came to racing really because was my desire, my dream, my hobby, and I made it my profession. It became my profession as a natural thing, but has never left. I cannot say right.
It's not the only thing in your life.
Yes, no. What I mean is, it was always first my hobby,
Yes.
and then my profession. You understand? And So I don't need racing for any material benefit. And I think that is very unique in racing, generally speaking, in terms of drivers, engineers, mechanics, team owners, team managers, sponsors, journalists. I think very few people have this situation. Some have, I'm not the only one, but very few people have got. But what I have got, of course, on top of it is the fact that all the steps I've been through, I've been successful. So I've been able to build up on myself the personal feeling of doing something good and achieving success in my mind, psychologically speaking. At the same moment, I was able to get also material benefits from it as I was getting success. But I never needed the material benefit to do what I do, and has never been my motivating factor or my or a responsibility that I had along my career. You know, I need the money because I have responsibilities to fulfill, so I have to cope with this or cope with that. I never, fortunately, I never was in that situation. And that perhaps makes me a little bit different than in terms of principles and how much important those principles are than most people, because I don't need my profession and I don't have responsibilities with myself or other people that even when my principle is hurting me, I have to cope because I have responsibility to some people. You know, so I think I'm able to stick close to those things.
Yes, I see.
Much more than
other people might get sidetracked.
Even if they have principles, but right at the end they are forced to go compromise because even if they today no longer depend on the material benefit, today they have responsibilities with other people who are below them who depend, and they could jeopardize those other people position if they push strong. And so I think in that respect I am in a fortunate position.
Good.
To be able to stick with it. And having said all of that, I had to give way regarding the affair of last year. At a certain moment, I have to just give way completely because of somebody else, not because of me. Simply because if I had pushed for what I think is right and what I thought was true, I would probably have created a major problem with everybody that I work with. And
so your sense of loyalty to the team made you give in.
Yes, and it made me give in as much as I gave up racing. Practically, I gave up. I said, I give up because I am the key of all the problem. If I get out of it, step out of it, there is no more problem. I got to a point where I said, I step out of it, I just forget it. It's what I like to do, but the price is too expensive, and so I step out of it. And then things changed quickly around the matter, and I was brought into it again, and I had to face it and give in, not for me, but in the interest, in the benefit of the whole group of people, particularly the smaller people. Not the big ones. Don't really matter to me.
You mean even the mechanics? And
yes. particularly the people who really work day after day, they need their work. Okay, and in that respect is where I gave my one side of my principles for
Yes.
some other of my principles where I am part of it. I'm one of the two drivers that are the force of the whole organization, and I happen to be the only one to be on the trouble, and
Yeah.
so I gave in,
Yeah.
and so that has happened,
Yeah.
but for no other reason than the, the responsibility that I felt I had after 2 years being with those people and having the possibility of won the championship 1 year and so many races.
Mm-hmm.
Was the least I could then
Yes.
trade, in that moment.
Yeah. Good.
But it's not something that has gone through here,
No.
No, it's not something that has gone, and it's
You still
it
feel it?
lives. It lives in my mind, strong, and we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see with the time.
Maybe not finished yet.
With the time, no, it's not really that it's finished or not.
Yeah.
It's I wait.
Maybe your
I
feelings
wait.
will change.
Sorry.
Maybe your feelings will change in the future, you mean?
Yeah, I wait. I give time
All right.
to see how things will develop.
Yes. Oh, good. Can I ask you, when is the most pleasure for you on a Grand Prix weekend? The time that you enjoy yourself the most?
When I'm going fast
So it's on the track,
on the track.
not say not on qualifying, not in the warm-up, but actually.
It's
in
on
a-
the track when I'm driving,
Yeah.
and of course when I'm driving against the watch.
Yeah.
That-
Maybe
that-
more in qualifying then, more pleasure for you than the race?
No, I think slightly different, but the pleasure comes somehow very close.
Yeah.
Both qualifying racing.
Yeah.
When I drive against the watch, both racing and qualifying.
Yes.
I drive against consistency in the race, a little bit more against consistency than just one lap, like is qualifying. But in the end, is the one that fulfills a certain distance in the shorter time.
Yes. I understand. Good.
So it's driving against the watch, basically,
Yep.
not against other people or so on.
Mm.
It's relative to other people, the watch, of course,
Yeah.
the total time of a lap or a Grand Prix distance, but it's the watch, it's the time.
Yeah. When is the worst time of a Grand Prix weekend for you? If that is the best in the car, is there a bad time?
The most difficult time is when you have to put up with people that you don't really enjoy.
Yes.
It's when you have to
Yeah.
to live
Yeah.
with people that you cannot trust,
Yeah.
or people that you know by experience, previous experience, that
Yeah.
are just waiting for a small mistake of you
Yeah.
to hit
Counts.
you.
Yes.
That's
the worst.
That's the most difficult thing.
Yeah. Is it possible for you to say what percentage of the people are like that? 50% or more? And finish Ayrton Senna interview.